Hello and welcome. It's Digital Marketing This Week, episode 19. This is all about Google Analytics. This is actually a continuing series in our analytics series. This is part 2. In part 1, we actually covered all about your visitors, basically determining who your visitors were. And if you're joining us for this live, or if you're already a part of the Insiders, the DMDW Insiders group, then you can go back to your full replay and see that. We'll also have that posted on the blog and the podcast as well. So if you've missed that part, you can easily go back and catch all of that. Today, it's all about part 2, which is all about traffic and figuring out where your visitors are coming from, how you can tag them, all sorts of fun stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on with it. First and foremost, of course, brought to you by Seriously Simple Marketing over at SeriouslySimpleMarketing.com. My name is Chris Mercer, content developer for Seriously Simple Marketing, an optimization expert. Spend a lot of my time in Google Analytics, doing split testing, all sorts of fun stuff. Host, of course, of Digital Marketing This Week, and yep, just call me Mercer. Okay, so this week's focus topic, all about Google Analytics. Now, if you are joining us live, you already have access to this Insiders Club, where you can ask questions and get any details you want. In fact, looks like Caroline's saying hi, so thank you for that. Good to see you as well, Caroline. The point of this podcast, we've got this as a podcast, we've got it as a blog post, we've got it on YouTube. We're putting this content out everywhere that we can, and we want to make sure that there's great content that people can learn from. In this case, watching this episode is going to be tremendously helpful if you are new to analytics, or even if you've been in analytics for a while but you're just not sure what all these reports mean. That's what this whole series is for, to kind of get you up to speed on that. But you also have a choice. You have the option, I should say, if you are watching this live, or if you want to be part of our replay list, to join the notifications, where you can actually ask questions and get some more one-on-one help if you needed it. So again, completely free, just an opportunity for us to share kind of what we're learning and help everybody grow as we grow. Okay, your goal in this episode is to get that one idea. That's all I personally look for when I go anywhere, whether it's a mastermind, whether it's a training I purchase, whether I go to a conference. I'm looking for one idea. If I get that one actionable idea, that's all I need. And that's what we want for you for this episode. So get that one idea and you take action on that one idea, and then you go back and repeat it. And part of the reason I'm emphasizing it on these episodes, especially with Google Analytics, is because analytics is incredibly easy to get overwhelmed with, because there is so much to it. And you can go in and then start kind of pulling on loose threads and get all caught up and get stuck in your head, finally get overwhelmed and frustrated and just whatever, I'll come back to it later, and that ends up being years down the road. So what we want to do here is, if you just find one thing that I'm about to cover, if you find one thing you're like, cool, I'm going to go practice that, take that, go practice that. Don't really worry about the rest of the stuff. Then you can go back to this recording, and then you can pick that next thing and go back and practice a little more. And that's the easiest, simplest way to actually get these ideas implemented and make them part of your routine. Okay, so back to Google Analytics. This is a beginner's guide, right? So this is part 2. Remember, part 1 was all about behavior. It was it was all about the audience. Behavior is going to be next week. It's all about the audience, and that was who your visitors are. So if you missed that episode, you can go back. You can see all those different reports. We did a pretty decent run through of what those reports were and how to use them, or how you might use them. But if your questions, when it comes to your site and your marketing, if your questions are, okay, where exactly are my visitors coming from? Well, then you want a whole separate bunch of reports, and those are actually called acquisition reports. So that's your traffic reports. I'm going to show you a screenshot of that in just a second. But first, when you're thinking about, okay, why should I watch this whole thing? Why should I learn about traffic reports? Well, here's why. Because today, of course, you're going to discover how your visitors found you, and that's where they came from, the sites they're coming from. You can actually tell what keywords they use to find you in search engines. You can see if your social media is working or if it's not. Are you just sort of posting out to the world but not really getting anybody to, is it not really driving traffic back to you? You can even set up ways to track specific ads or specific links. You could even use this, and I'll show you how to do this a little bit later. You could even set up, and we do this, where you can track specific email links. So if you have sent out an email where you've got maybe a top text link, and then you have an image that's linked in the middle, and then you have a PS link at the bottom, you can actually tag each one of those. So I would know who's tagging on what link. And I can tell, are my PS links even worthwhile? Because everyone says you're supposed to have them, but how do they know? How have they measured that? And you can actually measure that and see if it's working or not. Same thing with image versus text. You know, are people really clicking on images? Well, there's only one way to tell, and that's to track it. And once you can track that stuff, you can actually see if those best practices, quote unquote, really are worth their salt for you. And of course, we're gonna cover a ton more. Okay, so the audience, who is visiting? This is basically what this report looks like, a little snapshot. And you can see here, so this is the acquisition report, right? So we're looking at this little section over here, acquisition. It's all about traffic. Where are my visitors coming from? Okay, so a snapshot here. So first, this is the overview. Okay, now I'm gonna go through these step at a time, and then we're gonna show you live here. So let's go ahead and pull that up. So this is our overview report. We are now live. Okay, so our acquisition overview. So what you're gonna wanna do is just, again, click here. When you do this, you'll normally come to your audience report. You can just minimize that. Click on acquisition, expands all your choices out, and then you can just click on overview. That brings up your overview report. Now, as always, overview reports tend to be bits and pieces of all these other reports. Just kind of put it on a dashboard. Okay, it's your snapshot, it's your overall snapshot. Now you can change things like segments. If you have segments, you can set up segments here. You can change the what it's graphing. So in this case, it's graphing top channels, which we'll get into in a second. You can talk about goal options, whether it's different goal options, you know, maybe DMTW opt-in, we wanted to take a look at, you know, see what's working there. And it'll obviously kind of graph here. And I'm gonna get into what more of these mean in the future. I'm just kind of giving you an overview here, but a graph of the different channels that are coming through. You've got the number of sessions that are coming through the site. It's a nice little traffic bump happening, which is great. We've got the actual report data down here. So you can see direct traffic. Now, direct traffic means this is people who are typing in your website directly, or they're coming in from a bookmark. Okay, so a lot of times if you just go to the Google toolbar and you go to type a site that you're used to going to, whether it's, you know, Seriously Simple Marketing's blog or Digital Marketer's blog or Conversion XL or any of the great blogs that are out there, you just start to type that in and it takes you right to it. That's going to be recorded as a direct traffic source. So people going directly to the site. Paid search, I'm gonna skip other for a second here. Paid search is when you've got paid traffic coming in, okay? So the referral traffic is a third-party referral. So let's say somebody, for example, well, actually that's not true, but let's say somebody set up a blog, right? And they were blogging and they linked back to a blog article on Seriously Simple Marketing. They said, hey, you should take a look at this. If somebody shared us through Facebook, sometimes that'll come through as referral traffic. Other times it'll come through as social, which we bring into social. Now, Google's not perfect at this. Google makes its best guess actually on all of these to see what's organic search, which email, you know, what is a source of maybe Facebook or Twitter traffic coming in, or your email system, and then of course organic search if they're coming through a search engine. So it makes its best guess as to what all these different methods are, and this is why we really like to customize them, because when you set up your tracking properly, you get much better data. Otherwise, you're dealing with Google's best guess. In the beginning, it's going to be best guess, which is fine. It at least gives you a place to start. But I'm going to show you a little bit later on how to actually customize all this. But in it, basically, what will happen is same sort of data. Again, this is the overview report. So this is the number of sessions that have started. Now, remember, this doesn't mean users, this is sessions. So a user can have 14 different sessions and they would all count in here. It would show 14, right? So let's say technically this could be one user at 98 different times. Okay, so just kind of give you an idea between sessions and users. But you get basic difference, basic information as far as bounce rate, how they're reacting. So I can see down here, paid search, they don't bounce as high as what the direct traffic is. Email, right? Don't bounce, which is pretty good, and a low bounce rate on the email. Same thing on pages per session, visit duration, and then your goals. You can see, okay, so I've got a goal set up for opt-ins for DMTW. How much of the direct traffic is leading to an opt-in? How much of my paid traffic is leading to an opt-in? How much of my social traffic leading to an opt-in? How much is my email traffic leading to opt-ins? All that sort of stuff. And you can get an idea of how your goals are completed. And of course, your e-commerce, if you have e-commerce tracking through how much you're selling. So that's essentially the acquisition overview report. Now remember, if this feels a little overwhelming, that's okay. Just sort of be like, okay, got it, let's move on, because you're only looking for that one idea. And you know, the overview report may not be it for you. So let's talk about channels. Now, channels are marketing paths. That's the best way to kind of think about these. It's the general marketing path that your traffic is taking to find you. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on the channels report here. And we're going to scroll down. Okay, so this is, you're going to see it was the exact same thing that was in the overview report, because overview at that time was just tracking channels. But this is what happens. So you come down here and you can see all the different channels. You'll get a little more detail, because again, now you're not looking at the overview, you're actually looking at the channels detailed report. And you can see numbers for the number of new sessions, the actual numbers for the pages, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on, I'm going to click on referral here, because one thing that people don't realize is you can click on some of these. So as we click on referral, you can see these are the different items that are referring traffic. So I can tell now who is sending me traffic that's a third-party site. So for example, Affiliate Summit is sending us traffic. Series of Simple Analytics domain, which is a domain we own for the Series of Simple Analytics course, is sending us traffic. Not sure what ClickSoar is, but that's sending us some traffic. And SE Malt, this is kind of curious. So your site probably has this bugger too. What this is some sort of third-party service tracking engine thing that is tagging people's sites, and actually it's a robot. It's not a real human being, and you can tell because of this. Look at this, less than, right? So they're not spending time. This one's probably the same thing, to be honest, this ClickSoar thing. So zeros. They're not spending any time. These are robots that act as humans. The little spiders that go through the internet, and they have pieces of code to ping sites and interact with pages on the sites, and it looks like a human being, and it's messing up my numbers. So you can actually go through and take these out. A little bit more advanced, but you can do that. You can just Google that. We don't have time to cover it here, but there are ways where you can just basically remove this from your Google results, so it doesn't even skew your data anymore. And I'm going to do that as soon as I get off this webinar, because this is again skewing results, right? But again, you can see there are some useful data here. So there we got a little tech site doing fitness, sending us some traffic. Some of this other stuff, we'd have to just check and look. Series Simple Search. Now this is probably somebody that scraped my site. This is also a way to see, because that's my product, but not my domain. So maybe it's an affiliate, something like that. But it does give you an idea of who is sending traffic. And if you happen to get a lot, okay, Digital Access Pass sending traffic, yay. But if you have a lot of people that are seeing, maybe from, let's say it was Affiliate Summit. So let's say Affiliate Summit was sending me just a ton of traffic out of nowhere. I could tell that. I can go back and actually find that post on Affiliate Summit. Let's say it was the blog, and then thank them and reach out to them. Hey, just want to thank you for sending me the traffic. That's how you know that people are doing this sort of stuff. So it's a really, really useful to drop down into the channels report. Now I'm going to hit into the other section here and see what's popping under other. So what this is, all of this other stuff, this is all of our customized campaigns. Okay, so it's not necessarily a channel. It's saying other right now because I haven't defined that digital marketer should be a channel called blogs, but I could do that. Right now it's just other, which is like a default sort of setting. But these are all the different things I've customized. So I have links that are customized from YouTube or Infusionsoft or SlideShare, Facebook, Outbrain, which is a new traffic source that we're checking out. There's digital marketers. I can actually click here, and then we can see. I'm going to show you a little advanced technique here, something called medium, and I'm going to get to this in just a little bit. So I'm going just a bit further ahead, but I want to show you. So I can see that some came from a digital marketer guest post, right? So I actually did a guest post on Digital Marketer about Google Analytics, and you can see this is the traffic and how it reacted. So I had a bounce rate of 38%, which was great. So that's really low traffic. They were engaged, they took more action, they checked out the pages a bunch more times, which was fantastic on the blog. So I can see that this guest blog post, really high quality traffic that it was with my content, which was great. That's what we want. And that's how I know guest blog posts are something I need to continue to do, because I can actually measure results. I'm not guessing. I'm not reading somewhere that you should guest blog post. I'm actually proving that I should guest blog post. And that really helps me to get a better idea as to where I need to spend my marketing dollars, my marketing resources, my marketing time, all of that stuff. Anything that says not set, by the way, is just that the tagging probably just wasn't set properly for that brief period of time. And I'm sure we fixed it, which is why it's a tiny little number. So anyway, that's the channels report. Again, marketing paths, the generic sort of marketing paths that people are coming through. And you can customize these. So I could create one and say, call it blog post or whatever, and just create what they call a new channel, and everything that is digital-marketer as a source could be a blog, right? Something like that. Again, a little more advanced than I apologize if I'm going a little bit advanced, but just look for the one idea. I want to emphasize the one idea because I know it can get overwhelming. Okay, next up, I'm going to show you the traffic reports. So I'll go ahead and flip back to our slides real quick. So channels we talked about, marketing paths. Now traffic. Traffic is all about plenty of details. If you want to find out specifics, you go to your all traffic report. And there's actually a number of different all traffic reports that will pop up. So when you click on this, let's see here. I'm going to go to scroll down to the details. And again, all these reports are all pretty much the same. They all sort of graph. You can switch whatever they're graphing, all that sort of stuff. So I don't really cover that. They all basically act the same. The difference is in the details down here. So here we have source and medium. Source is the source of your traffic that either you have told Google, this is the source of my traffic, or Google is making its best guess as to the source of the traffic. Medium is how that traffic is coming through. And again, that's either a term that you tell Google, this is how the traffic is coming through, put this, detail here, or this variable, this name here, or it's Google making its best guess. So in this case, direct/none, you will see a lot of these. Direct/none is basically people who are typing in your website directly and coming directly to it, or they've bookmarked it and they're coming in through a bookmark. It happens a lot, and there's a lot of traffic that does that. And so that's what direct none is. Okay, so if you see that, that's normal. Facebook and then PPC. So this is a little different. This is actually customized, believe it or not, because we do ads on Facebook. And I know it's customized because of this PPC. Now, let me give you an example of Google's. So see, it says Facebook PPC. This is facebook.com/referral. This is Google making its best guess. And what this is somebody shared us on Facebook, somebody clicked on us and from Facebook, and they came through. So it wasn't a link that I shared necessarily, because I tagged most of the links, right? So we know specifically that it came from a Facebook post that we paid for, like a promoted post, or if it was a, and again, I will show you how to do this later on, but we tag all of that stuff. And if somebody reshared that, it would still show the original tags that we tagged it with. So we know that referral traffic is people that are either these were untagged links, which is entirely possible, or it's just people that went through to our blog and then shared stuff on Facebook. And that's where it came from. So this is Google. Now this little m.facebook means that these people were on mobile phones. They were using the Facebook app. So that's all that means. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover just the generic ones. So you can, again, details, digital-marketer was a guest post, right? So this is customized tagging that we did. This Infusionsoft was customized, but you can see some things were broken here. So we had a not set where it should have said email. So this is where we can go through and go, okay, well, we realized, our tagging wasn't set properly for some of the emails we sent out. And that's what, if you ever see not set, that's all that means, is Google didn't have a tag there, so it just puts not set. YouTube not set is the same thing. So we've got some issues there. I'm gonna have to talk to some of the team members. And then, again, Infusionsoft email, this is our custom tagging. Google organic. So anytime that you see organic, it's search. This is coming from search. So it can be Google organic, Bing organic, Yahoo organic. In fact, let me show you this. In all of the reports, you can use this little advanced box. I'm going to type in the word organic, and what it will instantly search for, when you just use this box, it will search for the term in this column. Okay, so we're going to look for the term, anything that contains organic. I'm going to go ahead and hit our little search button, and you can see here's our traffic. So we've got 84 people or 84 sessions, 69 users. So 69 users, we got some users coming from Yahoo and a user coming from Bing. So these are our organic search right now. Nothing resulted in any sort of conversions, at least on that particular visit. So that sort of gives us the details of it. But that you can see is organic. That is Google telling you it's search traffic. It will never, search traffic will never ever show, this is a question we get about referral. So referral is third-party traffic. That's Google tagging it as this came from a third party, but referral traffic is never search traffic, and search traffic is never referral traffic. So you will always see referral or organic. You never have to worry if they came from a search engine or not. If Google can tell they came from a search engine, it will put organic there. So so that's really it. So you've got the direct none, which is people typing it directly in. You'll see by default a lot of referral, which is the third party, where Google says somebody else sent you traffic, here's the domain that did it, or the source. And then you'll see this organic, which is search traffic. So that's primarily what you're gonna see under source and medium. Now there are other things that you can add or that you can look at. So there's campaign variables. So there's 5 different tags that you can track with traffic. And I'm going to show you those in about 10 minutes or so. But basically you can say, here's the source of the traffic, here's the medium of the traffic, here's the campaign it was for, here's the content of the ad, here's the keyword term, keyword term that I used. So lots of stuff that you can tag, lots of detail that you can put in these. So it's something you're going to want to learn. And if you get one big idea from this, it would be to please tag your traffic, because the more that you tag traffic, the better data you're going to get into Google Analytics. It does take a few extra minutes sometimes to do, but it is so worth it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move on now. Again, the all traffic report, and you can see same thing: acquisition behavior, and then conversion. So you can see sort of what the response rate is. So I can see right now Infusionsoft emails tend to get some conversions. Looks like our Facebook referrals are also getting conversions. So people on mobile phone, this helps me think about marketing dollars, right? So am I gonna, when I do my ad campaigns, should I keep doing newsfeed on desktop because that doesn't seem to convert, but mobile newsfeed does seem to convert. So why not kind of, you know, put the dollars toward that? So it kind of gives you an idea. Okay, so let's go ahead and move along. So that was all traffic. That's where all of your details are as far as where your traffic's coming from. Now let's talk about referrals. Now what referrals will do is it will actually break it down and show you just the referral traffic. So this was everything where the medium was referral. Okay, so you can see this is now, so it just says source here because it doesn't need to show medium. The medium is referral traffic. So it's anything that was a third party. Incidentally, if you ever see this L dot and this LM dot, all that is, it's Facebook goes through like kind of like a link cloaker to protect from malware, from bad sites. And so what'll happen, and everybody, it does this for everybody. So you'll see this on your site. So you're having Facebook traffic, but all it is the l.facebook.com goes through a little scrubber first that makes sure that the link that they're about to go to is safe. And that's why it shows L dot. LM dot is just the mobile version of that, but it's the same thing as Facebook. So facebook.com, m.facebook.com, and then these two here, they're all the same. They're all Facebook traffic. So you can basically combine those numbers for all intents and purposes. But you can also see that we're getting referral traffic from SlideShare, from Affiliate Summit. Let's see, again, this stuff we need to get rid of because this is just bots. And again, when you look at this stuff here, see this poor data, right? So this is like, they're not spending time, you know, this is kind of interesting because this is a smart little robot, I tell you, because it's clicking through, you know, pages per session is higher than 1, which most bots aren't. But it's because it's clicking on links. It's actually programmed to go through and click on links and track stuff on the site. And then if you ever go to SE Malt, or if you Google it, you'll see a lot of people complaining about this site. And it's some paid service. And then there's a little thing on there that says, hey, if you want, you can remove your site. You know, just put your site in this little opt-in box, and we'll remove it from our list. And I'm like, they're already kind of, you know, creating poor traffic. So I'm not going to raise my hand and tell them that I'm a real site. So I would recommend you don't do that, but I digress. Anyway, so you can see the referral traffic coming through here. And again, you know, we see that mobilefacebook.com so far showing, you know, that's where our conversion data is coming from. But you can also check bounce rates. Okay, so who are the bounce rates? Who is most likely? So these SlideShare individuals, I got SlideShare people coming in, they are a highly engaged little audience, right? And they're spending time. Our pages are higher. Our average duration could be a little bit better. And that's something where we can go and say, okay, well, they're highly engaged, they're clicking around. And what we could do is create a landing page that's just for SlideShare people, so that SlideShare people see that, and then we can help them onboard from a SlideShare environment into our environment. We actually did that with Digital Marketer, which worked out really well. So, you know, little things like that. But this is the data that I'm looking for. So where are my sources of traffic coming from? What's producing the most? So right now, clearly it's Facebook, because we add all 4 of these together, and we've got a lot of Facebook traffic. So, and that's just referral. That doesn't include our PPC traffic. That's just traffic from links that we've sent out, which is pretty nice. Okay, so that's referral traffic. Again, third party is what that's all about. Next up is campaigns. This right here is why you need tracking. And I'm going to show you the custom tracking. But first, let's talk about what this report looks like when you've got it all up and running. Okay, so campaigns, right in here. Scroll back down. So here's our details. These are our campaign tags. Now we set up campaign tags. Even look at when we do tests, we set up a campaign that says test. And so you've got these little campaign tags. It will tell us, okay, what's our blog traffic campaigns doing? So an example of this might be when we do an email send out on Fridays and we say, hey, go check out this latest blog post we did. We'll tag that email, and there'll be a little campaign tag that says, count this as blog, make that blog. And so we know, okay, this is the blog campaign. So let's assume we've got a bounce rate. So this, again, low bounce rate, which is good. We want low bounce rates. pages per session are high, so people are going through the pages, which is nice. They're not just going to the one page, but they're clicking through, they're engaged. This is all good. We even have a really a decent, average session duration, so higher compared to the rest, which is also nice. So we're seeing all of this different stuff. We're seeing opt-ins coming through. So if I wanted to, my question would be, was there a specific post? Was there a specific blog? That sort of stuff. Like what specifically is working here? So it shows me blog, but what specifically? So what I can do is I can click on blog, and then let's drill down into some data. So now when I click on blog, it's dropped me into the source and the medium. So these were all the different sources of traffic that led to my blog. So digital marketer guest post by far was the biggest. YouTube videos coming through, people coming from YouTube videos going to the blog posts are big. Infusionsoft emails, right? So I used email as an example thinking maybe that was it. It really wasn't. It was digital marketer and YouTube. So now I know guest blog posts for sure, and YouTube videos. So going out there and making sure they continue to do YouTube traffic because it's building. We've got Outbrain PPC coming into a blog post because that's, again, this is paid traffic. We term this PPC is here because we told it to put in PPC there. So that helps us because now we go, okay, we got 21 new users that came through, but they're not converting, right? So we got an 80% bounce rate, which isn't horrible considering. They're spending about 1 minute, 52 seconds. I mean, Outbrain, just for those who don't know, Outbrain is the traffic source where if you go to CNN.com or something like that and you see like 7 celebrity stomachs that I can't believe they showed in public, click here. And it's like all those little link bait articles. There's like normally like blocks of 6 at the bottom, something like that. That's Outbrain. And publishers have those all over the place. And so we're trying it. And what we actually did is one on Google Analytics. So talk about sexy. So just to kind of see, are there people who are actually looking for real content and not just like, the celebrity plastic surgery gone wrong photos and all that sort of stuff. And it's probably a combination of both. But we just started that over the past few days. So we'll give us some more time to test this out. But so far, we're getting some engagement and we're getting some people spending some time on the page. We just need to do a better job at converting them. But again, we're coming to a blog post, right? We're not coming to a page that's designed to necessarily convert into anything else. It's designed to deliver the content. So what we're looking for is, are they engaged? And then if they're engaged, will they be engaged enough to go into an opt-in? And that could be something where, if we see promise here, but I'm seeing this little bounce rate drop, and then I go, okay, well, maybe I should go back to that blog post that we're sending traffic to and put a direct opt-in, and maybe at the bottom, or put like, a couple of call to actions in the blog post itself that require, that ask people to opt in and see that, and that could help us bump up our opt-in rates. There's lots of different things that this report will start helping you with. Twitter, we've got paid advertising on Twitter. I've got PowerPoint. So slide shares, we did some PowerPoint. We do all of our, like this, right? Digital marketing this week, this slides that we're using will go onto SlideShare and we tag them. And that's how we know if it's sending us traffic back or forth. Facebook paid ads. So this wasn't working all that well. SlideShare paid, SlideShare shares. So this is just organic traffic. And this is an important point. This is already starting to happen. And so this is kind of where I've got to get with the team and go, okay, we need to start figuring out what we're going to call stuff. Because in my view, we call everything a share. So if it's a share, it means it's organic. We just put it out there. We didn't pay to promote it. It was a share, right? And somebody came through and they said, okay, well, let's try PowerPoint. Let's let them know what it was. It was PowerPoint. So that's not super useful for me. I would much rather know if it's a share or if it's PPC, right? And I know that we put in paid here too. That's probably me doing that, to be honest, before I figured out that I should call everything PPC for pay-per-click, since that's what it tends to be. But if you start splitting these up, you're going to see that they start splitting up, right? So this SlideShare data is really the same stuff. It's just coming from a different ad. So, or I'm sorry, a different slide deck. But so that begs the question: how would we know? How would we know which slide deck this came from? So what you can do, you can click on here in secondary dimension. All reports have these little doohickeys there. I'm going to click where it says add content, because that's a tag that we can add to it. Let's see if we added tags. We did. So this shows that they came from the last slide of the slide deck. That's interesting stuff, right? I can actually tell position. Which slide did they come from? It actually will tell me that. That's useful. I can also type in keyword, the keyword term. So let's see what pops up here. So I can see term, right? Now, the only reason I'm seeing these is because I tagged it like this. If I didn't tag it like this, I didn't tag. So it's not coming through right. But this was a Halloween post we did on is your website scaring your customers away, right? That was a Halloween post. We did a boosted post on Twitter. We did native advertising examples. So this is native advertising video. That's what this was. People saw this video. It was the native advertising video on YouTube. I know exactly which video it was that had this sort of response rate. That's powerful. Infusionsoft emails. This is about DMTW's episode. This was understanding time on page blog post. This was the 3 types of advertising video. I mean, on and on and on. So pretty cool stuff. Let's go back and see those slide shares though. So, and what I'm going to do, because we've learned how to do this already, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look in my advanced box, type in slide share. There's our slide shares. So how to survive Facebook, brought in traffic, traditional versus online marketing slide deck, the slide deck we did on Google Analytics. And this is something, again, we would learn, because I would think, okay, which Google Analytics, right? So which one was it? We would need to figure that out. So that's better tagging on our end. We should do, you know, much better tagging on our end to see what's working on that. And then we did an Asana review, Crazy Egg review, Lynda.com review, all of this different stuff. So these are the different reviews that are actually bringing traffic in. So it gives you an example of exactly what's working, but you can't do any of this unless you do custom tagging. So custom tagging is very, very important. And again, if you have not yet figured out your one idea, this is going to be it. How to customize tracking tags. Now, the very first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to go to our friend Google, and you will Google URL Builder. Okay, just URL Builder. You'll see it pop up. It's going to take you to something that looks like this, and Google will show up as the #1 result because they own Google. And this is actually their page. So you're going to go to the URL Builder -analytics help. It'll, you know, I've never seen it not pop up #1, so chances are it'll pop up #1 for you. And then what you'll do is you're going to click on that. It'll take you to a page that has a form that looks like this. Now I'm going to explain this form, and then I'm going to go through and show you an example of this form filled out. And we'll go through and show you how it works. So the website URL, this is the page that you are linking to. So if it's just your domain, you know, like mydomain.com, then you put that in. If it's a specific blog post, then it would be mydomain.com/this specific blog post, right? Whatever the actual URL is that you want to link people to. So again, if you're going to create an email and you were going to hyperlink and say, hey, check out this sales page, for example, and you would, whatever URL you're going to hyperlink to, that's the URL you put in here. Okay, so this is the URL you want them to go to, the destination. Next, you then put in your tags. So you would say, okay, this is the campaign source. So the source of the traffic, and we keep this as general as possible. So Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Outbrain, Infusionsoft, or Office Autopilot, or whatever, you know, Aweber, whatever email autoresponder you're using. The campaign medium is how they're finding you. So for email, we use email. For PPC, for paid, we use PPC. For slide share, for shared content, so shared content that is not paid, we use share. So we know that it was a shared, but not necessarily paid. And that helps us because it lets us know, are people resharing our shared content, or, you know, versus paid content. And the PPC, you know, PPC again, we use as paid, so that we can tell the difference between those two. We've got the campaign term. Okay, so this is a little, so the term is all about details. Actually, both of these are. So term and content. So these are the details. Now, if you're using AdWords, this stuff will automatically come through. You can set up so it dynamically sort of goes through, but all the other stuff, we use these as just additional spaces to put details about the ad. So we might say, for example, if I was tagging the slide share for this particular post, and I wanted to see if people were coming through our SlideShare deck, I would tag it. I'm gonna go back up here real quick. I would tag it as SlideShare. I would tag this medium as PPC. I would tag the term as Google Analytics, and then I would tag the content as part two, you know, acquisition. So that let me know that it was the about Google Analytics that people are interested in, and then the part 2 is what it was, the specific slide deck, so I can tell. And then finally is the campaign name, and then the actual name itself, that's what shows up in the main sort of top level of campaign. And for us, because it's about digital marketing this week, I would just tag it as DMTW. So I would know this goes under the DMTW campaign. The best way to think about this is if you're advertising for a certain product, just call it that, whatever your product name is. And that's it. Occasionally, if you're a huge retailer or something like that, they might say like spring sale campaign or the May, whatever campaign. But for us, we tend to use it for if it's promoting what it's promoting. Is it promoting digital marketing this week? Is it promoting blog traffic? Which case we just call it blog. Is it promoting Seriously Simple websites, which is just SSW? Is it promoting Seriously Simple Analytics as a course, which is just SSA? And so we have all those different campaigns all triggered out. But once you have all of these filled out, you just click submit, and then it'll give you a link. So let's go through and actually show you what this looks like. So let's say, for example, you wanted to send them to mywebsite.com. Then you would go through and let's say it was a campaign source. Now here's another example. So let's say you advertised on Joe's blog, right? You went to Joe's blog and he was selling advertising and you wanted to do a banner ad and you wanted to see if traffic was coming in from that banner ad, right? Not just Joe's blog like the source of traffic, right? Because that would just be referral and you wouldn't really know what it was, where the specifics were. It would be referral traffic. Google couldn't tell because it wouldn't be a tag. But when you do an ad, you can actually say customized, here's the link I want you to link this ad to. And so you would tag it. So let's tag it as coming from Joe's blog. Let's put it as campaign medium, as paid ad, right? So, or PPC, whatever you want to come up with, just keep it, whatever that tag is. You could call it $10 off. Let's say that whatever you were advertising, it was a $10 off coupon, that was on his ad. So let's pretend it was a $10 off coupon. And let's pretend this one had a blue border and a picture of a kitten on it. And this would be something that you could put in. Again, the term is just to remind you or to trigger so that you can go back and say, oh, that's right, it was this specific ad. And this is the power of these tags. So now instead of thinking, or instead of being able to figure out that the traffic is coming from Joe's blog, you will know, if you use tags, you will know and be able to tell in Google Analytics that the traffic came from Joe's blog. It was a paid ad. It was the one that was advertising $10 off offer, and it was the one that had the kitten with the blue border versus the dog with the yellow border. You can actually tell very specifically what's working and what's not, and the results of those actions. So you can tell what's converting. Did the kitten convert more, or did the dog picture convert more? And then you know how to adjust your marketing dollars. And this is the power of analytics, but it only works if you tag things. So it does take a little while, but you want to make sure that you can go through and take advantage of this. Finally, let's pretend it was an ebook that you were selling. So we would just call the campaign, my ebook, or ebook title here, whatever you want to put, right? Entirely up to you. And we would click submit. So here's what this would look like. So if you did no tags, it would just look like mywebsite.com. And a lot of people, that's what they do, just by direct, right? So mywebsite.com. With tags, it's going to look like this bottom one, right? So you've got mywebsite.com, and then you'll see where it says UTM source equals, and then that's where it puts Joe's blog. UTM medium equals paid ad. UTM term is $10 off. UTM content equals blue kitten, and then finally UTM campaign equals my ebook. Now the order of these doesn't really matter. What's important is that they're all in there, and because you'll see that, and this is actually a funny thing, you're going to start noticing these everywhere now, because this will show in the URL when you go to the different posts. So now when you start opening up your email subscription, whatever emails you're getting, when you start clicking on those links, you're going to see when you go to the people's websites, you're going to see stuff like this. It'll say UTM source equals, and you'll see all how they tag their traffic, and you'll know exactly how they tagged your visit just now. So it's really it's a fun way to at least look and see how other people are doing it, to get some ideas on how you can do it on your own. But again, if it makes it a little easier, let's just do this. So you can see Joe's blog, paid ad, $10 off, blue kitten, my ebook. And everything else is that's Google listening to know, oh, UTM source. Okay, I know now Joe's blog equals the source, and that's what should go under source. And then paid ad, I know that should be medium. One question I get quite a bit is, what does UTM stand for? It is Urchin Tracking Module. So, and thank you, Carolyn, for one idea, customized tags. You do this, you take this and run with it, and you can do amazing things. So yeah, UTM tags are everything. Urchin tracking module, by the way, Urchin was the original Google Analytics. They actually bought a company called Urchin that came up with analytics, and then of course rebranded it. So it's all legacy stuff. Little Google Analytics trivia. Okay, so that is campaigns. Now let's talk about keywords. So I'm going to jump into keywords. This is a fun one. This is also the people that want to know everything about keywords. So first, there are two. There's paid and there's organic. We're not doing any paid keyword traffic right now, because paid, guess what? It comes from AdWords. So, and we're not going to have a ton of paid AdWords traffic coming in. Oh, you know what? I take that back. We do, because we're doing Facebook traffic. Now I think about it. So we have some paid keywords coming in from Facebook, right? And this shows us the keyword is based on the ad. So I can see the laptop. This was the image of the laptop that was facing front. This was the image where it was two people looking at a desktop. This was the one that was the relaxed brunette. This was the one that had the hand on the mouse. This is the glasses guy with the credit card. All of these are little things that we do to go like, oh, wait, which image was that? And we can go back and find them. But we can see here, again, you've got sources. Right now everybody's kind of pretty much laptop facing front has got the biggest pages. So that's got a higher engagement. They definitely spend a lot more time. This is the ad that I would say is kind of getting us working in terms of engagement right now, though, there's not a whole lot of numbers here, but right now the laid back brunette was the one that was actually getting us some opt-ins. So that's paid keywords, but this is something where it's pulling off of your UTM codes. So without those in our UTM codes, it would not show. Okay, so that's what the paid does. Now organic, this is what everybody cares about because everyone's thinking about search keywords. So this is probably what yours is going to look like, something like this. So not provided, and then a few other ones. Not provided is Google traffic. Sad but true. About godly a year and a half now, 2 years ago, Google kind of did the clamp down on search. So they no longer give SEO. They don't give keywords. They used to, and you'd be able to see those here, but now they don't do that anymore. So because they don't do that anymore, you can't see that data. And there is very little way for you to, there actually is no way. Let's just kind of crouch that. There is no way to do it. You can't go in here and click in and be like, okay, well, I know not provided, but let's get additional details. There are no more details. All it will tell you is you basically had 84 visits from Google. That's it. However, you do see that there are other ones here, right? So you've got series symbol marketing, bad examples of native advertising. These are search results that are coming in from other search engines. So in fact, let's do this. I'm gonna go into secondary dimension. I'm gonna type in source because I wanna know the source of those. And we're gonna add that. So I got one from, there you go. So a couple of people in Yahoo were searching for series symbol marketing, and one person on Bing searched for bad examples of native advertising and came through our article where we actually did a whole article on native advertising and how it was being misused sometimes. So that was kind of cool. That's good. But what's not good is this. See, they saw the article and they basically bounced off. It wasn't exactly what they were looking for. They're probably looking for more like pictures and doing research. This one, hit or miss, but they didn't spend a bunch of time. So we know that this particular one, looking for series symbol marketing, they found that they just didn't spend a lot of time on the site. So, but again, this is only 2 people. So not a whole lot of data for us to make any real decisions off of. Unfortunately, again, Google hides all this, so you can't really see what's going on with Google, but that is the keyword report. The most useful of this will be the paids, because that's where all your, if you're doing AdWords, it'll automatically go in here. Anything that you're tagging will go in here, so you can see exactly what's working and what's not. So hopefully that that gives you an idea. And again, if you see not set, it means it wasn't tagged. Google knows that you paid for it because it was coming in from paid traffic, but it wasn't tagged specifically enough for Google to actually have a keyword. That keyword was actually blank. So that's all that means. Now these other ones here, I'm going to cover these kind of quickly because we're running just a little long in the tooth on time, and they are a little more advanced. So these are very useful, but they do need some setup. So not all of these will you be able to take advantage of, but just to at least give you kind of a general overview of what they are. So these bottom 4 here, this first one is cost analysis, and you'll see we haven't set this up either. But what this is this will allow you to import data, and this is where it gets a little complicated. So this isn't at your style, not a problem, but it is available. Just know that it's out there as a tool. You can actually import to Google and say, I paid this much for my Facebook ad. And so here's how you would use this. You can tell Google how much you're paying for the ads, right? And so it would know that you paid for the kitten ad, yellow border with kitten ad, you put $50 into that particular ad. And then you can track, once you have Google Analytics all set up, you can track to what the actual sales were from that ad. So then if Google knows all this data, it can then tell you, okay, you paid $50 for this kitten ad, you made $500 in product sales, or 50 opt-ins, or $2 in product sales, and it will tell you how efficient the ad spend is and what your actual return on investment is. And that's kind of the holy grail. Everyone's looking for this, return on investment. How do I know what's working and what's not, and where to spend my marketing dollars? Well, out of the box, you can't do it. Not with Google, with analytics, I should say. Not out of the box, not just as it is by default. But when you set this stuff up and you start dedicating yourself to really taking advantage of the capacity that Google Analytics has, then you absolutely can do that. You just got to put a system in place to export your data from Facebook, and then you import it into Google, and then Google can do that with the reports. So that's cost analysis. AdWords is, I'm gonna click down here just so you can see. Again, we haven't set up AdWords either because we don't use AdWords for a source of traffic, at least not yet. But this is where all of your AdWords traffic will come through. You basically just link your campaigns together. So if you get a little message that says, oh, you need to link your AdWords campaign, it's very simple to do. Just follow their directions. And then you link your AdWords campaign into Google, and then all your data will come through, including cost data. So that's the one benefit of AdWords is because they're owned by Google, it's very easy to get all the data in. Third-party stuff like Facebook, or for us, Outbrain, you know, that sort of stuff, we'd have to import the data into the cost analysis. But AdWords all comes through. It will also tell you stuff like keyword positions. So this is kind of what the conspiracy theory with Google and search results. So on the one hand, they say that we don't provide search results anymore. We don't provide the keywords because it's encrypted, right? Google's everything that you do on Google has this little HTTPS up here. They're all encrypted. And because of that, we can't decrypt their data because it would be a security thing. So that's why. But the other reason is because they want you using AdWords. And so then you can go and you can pay for AdWords campaigns to test different keywords that are working and what aren't, and then what the positions are and all that sort of details. So I'm gonna show you just a second, just one other way you can get that data without having to pay for AdWords, but that is one way to do it. Next up here is social. And again, I'm just going to do overview right now. So this will give you a general overview of how Google sees social networks impacting your site, based on what it defines as social networks. So, and again, you can always adjust these results, but this is sort of out of the box. It kind of gives you a basic idea of you know, what's working and what's not, and where people are coming from in the social network. And there are some things that it's trying to do this thing called data hub activity, where it can get additional information, but things like Facebook and Twitter just aren't part of this. So it's kind of not really that useful. But you know, again, it's available to kind of get a real quick impression of what's going on social. Search engine optimization. So this is where you've got your queries, you've got landing pages, you've got geographical. So now the only way to get this data, and this is actually interesting, the only way to get this data is you have to hook in your webmaster tools. So if you come to this page and it doesn't show this, it's just like, oh, you need to connect webmaster. Just do that really quickly. You link your webmaster tools together, and then you will actually see, guess what? Queries, these are keywords. And so when you see some people saying, oh, well, you can get keywords from Google, you just have to do it through webmaster tools. That is mostly true. So you cannot get the actual keyword search terms from Google. That does not exist. However, you can get some data, and this will give you an idea of what people were searching for. And it will also tell you the average position in the Google search results that you were for that term at that time, which is also interesting. So you can see, you know, we've got some, I can come through here and you can just sort, right? Just click on the titles to sort, and I can see Black Hat SEO techniques. That was 220 because we did an article on Black Hat SEO and why you shouldn't do it. So that's fine, but I'm ranking #1 on some of these other ones, right? So I'm kind of ranking higher on some of these other stuff. And again, this is just at that moment in time, not necessarily all the time, but these are just average rankings as far as where we are for these different keyword terms. So that stuff is pretty interesting, right? So now you can see people are looking for this. They're looking for some of this stuff. These are keyword terms that I can see people are looking for. This is useful. It is not exactly the same thing as keywords, the organic keywords, but it's still enough to be useful. So, and the main reason is that Webmaster Tools is just a little bit more general than what would normally have shown up here back in the day, but this is still useful. So if you already do tracking tags and you're looking for that big idea, this would be my second recommendation to you. And maybe if once you do tracking tags and practice those, you come back here and you look at this one. So you can actually see what are people looking for to find your site. And you can tell it's really general too, because you know, it seems like everybody's 5, right? There's always like 5 people searching for stuff, so, or 5 impressions. It's kind of weird. So that's why it's coming from Webmaster Tools, technically, this data, which is mostly used for SEO purposes and that sort of stuff. But it's still useful. It's not perfect, and you don't want to take it as like the holy word of exactly what's happening on your site, but it does give you a good indication as to what people are looking for. So you can see lots of terms, which is pretty cool. So interesting. So lynda.com review, seriously simple marketing plan. What simple marketing plan? There you go. So we ranked a little bit for that. We ranked 130 for that. So that's probably about 10 pages deep, 13 pages deep, but whatever, we're there. So it gives you an idea again of what's kind of happening, and at least what people are looking for, that your site is ranking for. So. Okay, with that, I'll go ahead and answer any quick questions. So I know that this is a lot. So the whole point of this is, again, if you're watching this live and you got some questions, now it's time to go ahead and put them in there. The whole point of this is grabbing your one idea. So was it UTM tagging? I hope so, because if you're not doing that, you are absolutely missing out. This is a built-in part of analytics. You just need to start using it. That's it. And it is amazing. And once you start using them, you will see them everywhere. You're going to see them on links that we send out. You will see them on links on everybody else's stuff. You'll see them when you click, maybe if you use Feedly or something like that to read blog posts. You'll see people clicking on those links. It'll tell you it came from Feedly. If you're on Twitter and you're clicking on links, or Facebook and you're clicking on links, a lot of people use UTM tagging, and so you'll see all of that. Was it maybe finding the keywords that we talked about, how that's that sort of backdoor into using webmaster tools? Was it maybe marketing channels and figuring out how to use those to the best of your advantage? Remember, action brings results. So you want to go through, take just the one thing. Don't worry about trying them all. Take the one, be like, great, I'm gonna do UTM campaigns. I'm gonna do a couple of links, and I'm gonna see, in an email, I can tag my first one, to know that it was in position number 1, my second one to know that it was position number 2, my third email link to know it's position number 3, and you would know which link they're clicking on. We do it for links, we do it for buy buttons on a sales page, so we know which button people are clicking on. There's all sorts of stuff you can do. So with that, thank you again for joining us for Digital Marketing this week, episode number 19, all about Google Analytics and traffic reports, so otherwise known as acquisition. Of course, we are now going to move into our insiders area. So if you are not a part of that, you just go to seriouslysimplemarketing.com. You'll see a place to sign up, and you will be able to get access to the Insiders Club, where you can actually get access to this little after show thing we do, where then I sort of officially come down off the virtual stage, so to speak, and then we'll chat about whatever people are needing some help on. So that's what this is about to become. And again, if you are watching us live or on the replay and you're already part of the notification list, then you're about to jump into that. If not, I invite you to go to seriouslysimplemarketing.com and get signed up so that you can join us there next time. Otherwise, we thank you again for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode.